In the wake of the last tournament, survivors and organizers alike reel from the explosion of revelations and betrayals. The world knows about the games now. Pressure builds on the mysterious back-office operatives. The protagonist, returning or new, wakes in hospital, battered, changed, haunted by guilt and memory. Debt, desperation, social collapse still plague the globe. The game's no longer underground. A shadow group convenes. Former VIPs, corporate sponsors, government officials, all seeking control. The game's architect is missing, presumed dead, but whispers say he's alive and designing the next level. The protagonist receives a cryptic invitation. This time it's not just money, it's power, influence, survival. The number of participants explodes. Instead of 456, hundreds of thousands apply worldwide. The rules shift. Mass elimination, team dynamics, media spectacle, digital surveillance everywhere. The protagonist must choose, join, fight from inside, expose from outside. Meanwhile, agents of the game infiltrate governments, corporations, and social networks. A new arena is built. Not an island, but a floating city, constantly shifting. The opening contest arrives, players in separate national teams, forced into alliances and betrayal. The protagonist watches old allies die again. New faces appear, desperate, cunning, fearless. The family of a fallen player vows revenge, recruiting themselves into the system. TV screens across nations broadcast parts of the game. The public is both horrified and mesmerized. The protagonist realizes this game is no longer about winning money. It's about winning freedom. Segment ends with the first mass elimination round. Millions eliminated in one go. Elite crowd watches in silence. The floating city arena is unveiled. Skyscrapers, glass bridges, patrol drones, holographic signage. Participants assigned color-coded teams, tracked by wearable chips. No escape allowed. Contestants attempt simple childhood games, but twisted, digital overlays, explosive endings. Cheers and jeers from live global audience. Spectators bet on outcomes in real time. The protagonist finds allies, a former VIP defector, a cynical insider, a naive but strong newcomer. A new rule: team survival score counts more than individual. Betrayal is incentivized legally. Corporate sponsors introduce power tokens for saved lives, advantages, but cost huge risks. The protagonist resists initial logic of the system, tries to exploit cracks in the code. An unexpected game. Mirror light, red light. Players faced with themselves in VR before elimination. Many collapse mentally. Some refuse to play. New guard strategy emerges to force compliance. The floating city arena shifts at midnight. Streets vanish, floor tilts, contestants tumble. The protagonist loses a trusted ally in this mechanic, vows stronger resistance. Meanwhile, outside the arena, protest movements rise. Families of eliminated players rally. The game's organizers retaliate by broadcasting threats, seizures of assets, corporate blacklists. The floating arena's VIP lounge is revealed. The architect watches, a chessboard and global map in front. The protagonist infiltrates the lounge discreetly, finds encrypted files about Game 5.0. He realizes the games are evolving, from survival entertainment to simulation of societal control. Segment ends with a blackout. Arena goes dark, air alarms blare. Nobody knows when the lights return. In the darkness, contestants panic. The protagonist leads a small group through tunnels. They find a secret passage behind the facade of the arena, evidence of surveillance and manipulation. The insider ally reveals the game sponsors plan to use winners as global influencers, not just prize winners. A trusted team member betrays them, revealing they were planted to monitor the protagonist. The antagonist VIP meets with the frontman's successor, plans a new experiment, the reflection round. The contestant defector from earlier saves the protagonist at cost of her own team's favor. Outside, the protest movement gains traction. Hackers expose candidate lists and eliminated names. The game organizers scramble to maintain security. They activate drone guards and media blackout zones. In the arena, alliances shift. Some teams merge, some sabotage, some desert. A high-ranking contestant reveals mission. Infiltrate, expose. In the game, the protagonist considers joining. Meanwhile, corporate sponsors argue. Audience demand rising, broadcasting rights skyrocketing. The floating city's nightscape glows. Neon crosses, giant screens showing stats of living versus dead. The protagonist and his new alliance plan their escape strategy, but no exit exists yet. An elimination round. Blind maze. Players navigate corridor of mirrors. Shadows kill them. The protagonist faces his own reflection. Memories of past games flood him. He survives by trusting a new contestant, forging friendship across national lines. Segment closes with a broadcast. The game architect declares, "This is only round one." The camera pans to the protest crowd, the floating city, and a silent participant watching them all. The game's network expands globally. Secret tournaments in Africa, South America, Middle East. The protagonist realizes their work is only one piece of a vast system. A new character, a former police investigator turned whistleblower, contacts protagonist. She reveals off-world labs, remote islands, international payment systems funding the games. The VIPs convene in secret. They decide to sell game slots to highest bidder. Human lives as commodity. The floating city arena is linked to a global grid. Survivors placed, games streamed to other arenas. The protagonist alliance contacts the protest network, a plan to hack the grid during next game. Contestants receive viewer points that determine privileges, social media influencers among them. A new game, Collapse Bridge with global LEDs, cameras, live streaming. Loss means elimination and public shame. The protagonist saves a young contestant from elimination, becomes mentor figure. The whistleblower reveals that the game's founder died. His AI copy runs operations. The protagonist debates. Kill the AI copy or expose the system and risk massacre. Outside, a powerful corporate sponsor pulls funding. Game organizers scramble for new capital. The floating city's core gets attacked by protest drones. Alarms blare inside arena. The protagonist alliance uses the distraction to access central data center. They extract files labeled Game Archive 76, proof of previous failed tournaments. They realize there were games decades earlier. This is a legacy system. Segment ends with a shocking reveal. A file shows the protagonist's own family involved as backers. The protagonist reflects on why he's still playing, not for money, but for justice. He sees contestants from broken lives, war survivors, dead slaves, exploited youth. A defeated contestant begs for help. The protagonist makes a promise. He'll win, free them all. The Alliance holds morale meetings in hidden corridors, sharing stories, forging bonds. The game shows manipulators, sponsors forcing contestants to betray each other for views. The whistleblower hacks a live feed, projecting it globally, exposing cruelty of the game. The public is shocked. Some protests escalate into riots, governments threatened. The VIPs respond. The rules escalate. Next game, mass sacrifice, where entire team may die. The protagonist despairs when his ally dies, saving another. Guilt returns. In the arena, a game called Lottery of Lives. Players pick tags, many eliminated at once. The protagonist saves a child contestant, breaks his personal vow of non-involvement. Outside, global stock markets crash because of game revelations. Sponsors lose control. The game architect broadcasts statement. Survival is entertainment. Evolution is inevitable. The protagonist realizes the game isn't just about money. It's about controlling society. The floating city arena's walls shift inward. Players realize no escape exists, but a chance to reset. The protagonist stares at the sky. The spectator drones revolve like satellites. He makes a decision. He will infiltrate the control center. Segment ends with the Alliance gaining access code, but at cost. One of them captured, tortured. The Alliance infiltrates the arena's control core, disguised as contestants. Tension high. They navigate hallways of screens, showing live feeds from multiple arenas simultaneously. The whistleblower leads them to data vaults. They download incriminating files as red alarms sound. A betrayer in their midst is revealed. They fight him in neon-lit corridor. Loss allows security drones. The control core room. Steel walls, glass floors, storm outside, shows floating city in chaos. The protagonist unplugs key servers. The VIPs panic when scoreboard collapses. Security forces lock players in elimination chamber. New game begins unexpectedly. The Alliance has to return to arena to survive. Double danger. Game plus security. In corridor, they rescue the child contestant. She gives message, find the origin. They escape back to central arena zone, but floating city begins to collapse structurally. The protagonist sees a hidden shaft. It leads under the city to real game foundation. VIP lounge erupts in chaos. The AI founder appears on giant screen, blackouts everywhere. The protest network hacks satellites, showing live massacre. Public outrage spreads. Segment ends with protagonist and remaining alliance descending into the shaft, leaving behind collapsing city. Outside, viewers around world see game suspended, but unknown whether due to escape or system crash. The game's organizers activate lethal protocol. Every player must play round 0 or die. The floating city's lights go out. Handheld cameras show terrified participants. The shaft door closes behind them. Only darkness and rumble remain. In the underground shaft, they reach ancient game room. Decades old, stained, abandoned. Walls covered in names of eliminated players from past tournaments hidden from public. They find archival cameras, old scoreboard of first prototype games held in remote countries. The whistleblower reveals the game began as extreme debt relief program funded by elites. Over time, it evolved into spectacle, then into global control tool. The Alliance uncovers monitor showing participants all over world, winners used as icons. The protagonist is stunned. His family's debt was used as initial seed for games. Tearful flashback. His father signed contract unknowingly. His mother mortgaged everything. The Alliance sets plan. Expose Origin live during next game broadcast. The game organizers detect breach. They activate Protocol Black, lockdown, and lethal water flood. Participants drown. Protagonist rescues a team, losing his whistleblower ally. Back in Archive, they find Master Key, Master Game's central hub beneath the ocean. The protagonist realizes only by blowing up hub can the game end. Outside world, news of leak, governments scramble, international courts threatened. The floating arena shakes, teams forced into bridge jump game over open water. The protagonist sees many jump to their deaths rather than play. He jumps too, into the ocean abyss. Camera follows him downward. Segment ends with hub lights glowing beneath waves. He swims toward them. The protagonist descends through deep ocean base corridors. Water pressure high. Alarms flashing. The base is sterile. Glass tunnels, full of surveillance tech. Holographic screens showing player stats globally. Security teams in black suits guard crystalline servers. Protagonist uses insider codes. The child contestant is with him. She hacks in a network. Red light glows. They release live feed globally. Origin files, sponsor names, VIP list, death counts. The game pipeline revealed. Money flows, judges hidden, elimination votes recorded. The AI founder appears on screens. Non-emotional, calculating. He says, "You cannot stop the game, you only pause it." Protagonist sets explosives to destroy the base. Countdown begins. Game organizers activate final game. All participants must kill or die in underwater chamber. Protagonist fights through security, rescue team in tow, heavy combat. The base hull cracks, water floods, shields failing. The young contestant gets separated. Protagonist chooses to save her rather than escape. Explosives detonate. Waves rupture the glass. Participants inside tank panic as water pours. Outside, floating city breaks apart. Viewership plummets. Game network crashes globally. Protagonist swims to surface holding data drives, and the child, blood mixing with sea. He surfaces near protest boats. Data begins uploading to global media. The floating city sinks. Game officials captured by protest forces. Segment ends with satellite uplink. Message: game terminated. Phase complete. Worldwide reaction. Governments declare emergency. Survivors traumatized. Families grieving. The protagonist recovers in hospital. Child contestant safe. Alliance members missing. Trials are open for sponsors, VIPs. Media frenzy around game exposure. Players worldwide come forward with stories. Debt relief charities overloaded. But backlash. Black markets for game experience emerge. Copy games start elsewhere. The protagonist wrestles with guilt. Thousands died, system still survives. The AI founders' core units unknown. They may trigger again. Protest movements call for elimination of debt system, social reforms. Corporate sponsors pivot. Gaming, VR, gamified work contracts. The protagonist is invited to testify before global committee. He refuses unless change is made. Meanwhile, he receives threat. Data drive stolen. Game may reboot. A new player rises. A charismatic figure promising fair game, but with hidden agenda. Floating city remains wrecked, but parts rebuilt, some still operating as new arenas. The protagonist visits memorials of dead contestants around the world. He is haunted by nightmares, sleepwalker, child flashbacks. The months pass, but viewer reports show game clones in underground labs. The protagonist vows to find and stop them. Begins global search with Whistleblower Network. Segment ends with close-up, a masked participant in new tracksuit, number 9999, entering van. VIPs regroup underground. They plan Game 2.0 in remote zones, virtual simulated arenas in VR. Governments and corporations start new alliances. Game becomes labor leverage tool. Surveillance laws tightened, chips implanted, players signed unknowingly. The protagonist finds old contacts, former participants trained as rehab agents, now activists. The child contestant becomes spokesperson for survivors. Media wanders. Game organizers draft new rules. No deaths allowed, but social death, ruin, cancellation instead. A competition for social credit. Instead of prize money, you earn influence and rights. The protagonist infiltrates one of these new social game events applied to city workers. He sees the same masked guards, the same color-coded suits, the same childhood game gimmicks. The whistleblower warns, the game's insidious form changed. The protagonist reluctantly returns inside to fight again. This time not for money, but for survival of society. He confronts old friends turned opponents. Memories of first game flood back. In the arena, rules. Don't lose your job. Don't lose your life. Lose your identity. The protagonist realizes the fight isn't just in the arena. It's in the system outside. Outside world sees markets manipulated by game data. Dead ors targeted. Segment ends with protagonist being pulled out of the arena by masked figure. He realizes he is now player one of new game. Credits overlay. The game never ends. It evolves. A screen flashes. Next round. The world plays. The new game board spans continents. Players in cities from Seoul to Sao Paulo. Live feeds, sponsor banners, corporate logos everywhere. The protagonist's efforts to stop it lead him to Sao Paulo, where he sees red light, green light, played in a shantytown stadium. He witnesses desperation, but also resistance. Players attacking guards, refusing to play. The whistleblower analyses code. Winners are shipped into labor farms. Losers disappear into dark web auctions. A new rebel group rises inside game. Players who band together to sabotage rounds. The protagonist joins them. He plans to expose the game during a massive global livestream. Sponsors retaliate with threats, blackout zones, lethal enforcement squads. The protagonist's alliance leaks data showing that spectators bet trillions on human lives. The tipping point, world markets crash. Governments stop the game at first, but conspirators shift to hidden zones. A new game, global maze. Players run across cities, live tracking drones, elimination through GPS zones. The protagonist saves a young woman from a guard. She becomes symbol of resistance. Mass protests erupt. Mass participants escape. Social collapse looms. The floating city arena remains the hub despite being damaged. Players move by sea and air. The protagonist realizes he must destroy the network's satellite hub that streams the games. He trains overnight, prepares for extraction. Segment ends with midnight satellite explosion. Feeds cut. Unknown what the game operators will do. The world holds its breath. With satellite hub destroyed, game networks collapse. Global feed down. Contestants trapped inside arenas panic. Some revolt, others surrender. The protagonist coordinates rescue efforts, using hacked drones, rallying protest crews. The game operators initiate reset protocol, mass teleport of players, staging new game types. The protagonist enters the floating city's ruins, finds giant server core melting. The uprising spreads. Contestants, activists, viewers join to storm remaining arenas. The sponsor elites gather in secret vault. They debate whether to withdraw or escalate. The protagonist confronts the AI founder face-to-face. He offers deal, stop game and live, or fail, an entire network collapses. The protagonist refuses. Explosion in server core rips facility. Alarms everywhere. The world watches black screens. Games suspended globally. Survivors freed, but many traumatized, untraceable. Governments seize partial control. Corporations bankrupt. The protagonist visits first game's location, sees memorials of first contestants. He realizes survivor guilt. Must rebuild not only society, but the human spirit. Segment ends with new invitation arriving. This time, innocuous wording, but same ominous card. He stares at it, knows the game might be paused, but not ended. He resolves. He will expose not just games, but the system that allowed them. Title card. The game may stop, but the rules remain. The protagonist joins global hearings, testifies before world leaders. Survivors share stories. Victims given voice. Social reforms begin. The former VIPs arrested. Assets frozen, but many escape through offshore trusts. The protagonist's name cleared. He becomes activist icon, refuses glamour and wealth. The young woman he saved becomes leader of Survivors Foundation. The game's influence still seen. Debt levels unchanged, society still divided. A new threat emerges. Dark game simulators on dark web. Smaller arenas, no cameras. The protagonist trains his alliance in real-world rescue missions, intelligence gathering. He returns to first player's family, finds hidden diaries showing early game codes. The floating city arena remains buried. Renovation begins as Eco City, survivors protest. The whistleblower reveals the game's insurance arm still active. Human lives exchange value. A global hacker group surfaces. They threaten to release all game archives unless stopped. The protagonist must choose. Destroy archives and evidence, or expose and risk chaos. He chooses transparency. Data dump released across world. Social order teeters. Some call for new game to restore order. The Alliance fights terrorists who want games as salvation. Segment ends with protagonist on rooftop. Camera pans to new invitation slip landed on his lap. He picks it up, expression of dread and resolve. A mysterious cabal of technocrats, ex-VIPs, and game designers conspire in hidden facility. They design Game Protocol Phoenix, a hybrid of VR, real-life, social gamification. They recruit influencers, AI designers, military contractors, no longer just debtors. The protagonist and Alliance infiltrate their first gathering disguised as guests. He sees trophies, previous winners' suits, skull-shaped tokens, server racks humming. The game masters unveil next round, Life Continuum. Contestants live normal lives while playing hidden rounds. Outside world unaware until elimination notifications appear on phones. You are eliminated. The protagonist realizes the game has gone covert, hidden in everyday life. He races to warn his family, his saved young woman, his network. They split. In a low-lit mansion, Game Masters toast new contract signers. Drones film it. The protagonist disrupts live stream. Alarm triggers, capture attempt. He escapes through tunnels under mansion. Chased by guards, floor collapses. Alliance loses a member, grief returns. A broadcast shows world leaders signing compacts with Game Masters. The protagonist realizes fight is shifting from arena to society itself. Segment ends. A street game in a city square, apparently innocent, but elimination zones flash under streetlights. The voiceover. The game never ends, it just becomes invisible. The screen splits between cheerful public and masked hunters. The protagonist and former contestants form covert resistance. No game network. They track elimination signals, intercept drones, rescue hidden players. The young woman now leads safe houses. Tyler, like former contestant, becomes tactical lead. The Game Masters deploy social credit trackers. Resistance hacks them. In a city square, public fun game, event hides elimination round. Resistance intervenes but caught. The protagonist faces interrogation, uses distraction to escape. The young woman broadcasts survivors' stories live. Masses rally worldwide. Sponsors panic. Stock markets crash again. Governments scramble for legitimacy. Game Masters sanction civilian games, where citizens vote on others' lives. Chaos, riots and fear. Resistance plants explosives under main server in downtown tower. The protagonist board dives in a tower. Memory of first game haunts him. He rescues child contestant. Thousands watch live feed via hack channel. Segment ends with countdown. Tower collapse imminent. Sirens, drones overhead. The tower falls. Elimination signals go silent for minutes globally. The protagonist ahead of falling debris. His face illuminated by explosion. He realizes they've bought time, but Game Masters adapt. The fight continues in shadows. The Game Masters reveal their ultimate plan. Mirror game. Survivors forced to play against themselves. In a holographic dome, contestants face digital doppelgangers. Elimination equals both cells die. The protagonist enters to rescue captured resistance members. Emotional stakes. Contest designed to exploit survivors' guilt, trauma, identity. The young woman fights her mirror, loses half of her team. The protagonist confronts his mirror, past self who made deals to survive. He must choose to kill his mirror or lose everything. Meanwhile, outside, public rumor that the game is gone. False hope. Resistance finds that mirror game feed still live under new label, Life Replay. The protagonist plants virus in Dome's core. Alarms sound. Dome shakes. The Game Masters unleash brute force teams. Arena floods. Chairs fall. He saves young woman. Mirror kills itself. Dome collapses inward. Streams show system error worldwide. Game data corrupted. Segment ends. Protagonist and young woman escape in a city night. Watchers ahead. The voiceover. When you fight your mirror, you fight the system. Protesters celebrate, but underground game labs hum in silence. The protagonist realizes victory is temporary. He looks up at dark skies. New challenges ahead. The Game Masters rebrand. Not games, life trials. Every citizen, potential player now. Micro games embedded in work, commute, social media. Rules hidden, elimination non-violent, but lifelong consequences, debt, identity loss, exile. The protagonist focuses on policy reform and global legislative push, meets UN-style summit. Meanwhile, resistance fights both overt games and covert life trials. A major city declares game-free zone. Protests flare. The Game Masters deploy citywide elimination event. Graduation game for graduating students. The young woman infiltrates as trainee. She witnesses friends punished publicly. The protagonist returns to floating city ruins, rebuilds Resistance Hub. He partners with whistleblower hacker. They plan expose of life trial algorithm. The algorithm revealed selects players based on social credit, debt score, entertainment value. The world reacts, citizens terrified, government scramble, mass disobedience. The game masters pivot to disinformation campaigns, public trust dissolving. Resistance broadcasts algorithm live. Court hearings commence. Segment ends with massive blackout. Life trials interrupted. Code deletion begins. But hidden backup systems activate. Elimination zones reinitiate. The protagonist realizes new war. Not just survive, but dismantle system root. He steals himself. The final battle not on island, but across society. The tagline: the war is invisible, but the stakes remain human. The Alliance plots final strike. Target Game Masters Core Network. Global Relay Towers. Algorithm Central. Contestants freed from hidden labs become Resistance operatives. The protagonist leads assault in storm-torn city. Drones overhead, glass towers explode. The Game Masters Command HQ revealed under satellite dish field and desert. Inside, elite guards wave numbers like trophies, lists of previous winners displayed. The young woman stands before execution arena. Thousands of eliminated contestants' names on screens. The protagonist storms control center, engages AI founder. Fight brutal, personal. He disables system. Server racks overload. Massive surge. Outside, stadium-like crowds watch final live feed. They decide game's fate by vote. The public vote: abolish game or let it evolve. Result close. The Alliance triggers deletion program. Game Masters attempt last reset. Elliott countdown. 0. System crashes. Global broadcast. Game ended. The floating city shudders and sinks. Life trials freeze mid-task. The protagonist emerges in sunrise. Survivors cheering. Segment ends with final shot of masked guard removed. His face revealed. Someone from protagonist's past. The screen cuts to black. Audio. Child's voice. Will it start again? Title card. The last game. The world holds breath. 1 year later, survivors rebuild lives. Debt canceled. Restitution programs active. The protagonist works for Global Fund for Victims. Rejects media adoration. Former players write memoirs. Child contestant leads advocacy. Floating city remains wrecked. Museum created about game's history. Governments pass Human Integrity Act banning organized death games. The game masters arrested. Many escape. Shadow ops continue. The protagonist visits first arena. Places flower. Reflects on cost. Families of eliminated contest the records. Trauma healing begins. New children's games banned temporarily. Education reforms worldwide. The young woman records video. We survived. But we must remember. On a remote beach, a masked figure watches the waves. Game archive drive in hand. The protagonist receives an anonymous file. Next round ready. He closes laptop and stares at horizon. The world seems safe, but system root still breathing. The tagline: they ended the game, but not the players. We see number 9999 flicker on a screen somewhere in remote location. The final image: child's chalk drawing of the squid figure on pavement. Fade to black. After credits. Unknown lab. New tracksuits numbered thousands. Players recruited by contract. A voiceover: the game was paused, not over. The masked architect from Season 4 appears. New rules being typed. Cameras show small, isolated island. Fog lifts. New invitation card scattered. A new contestant opens envelope. Welcome to the next generation. Old protagonist hears whispers. We'll meet again. Global screens flicker. Logo of new game appears. Stylized squid merged with human silhouette. Final shot. Slow zoom on invitation card in contestant's hand. Number visible, 10001. Tagline on screen: let the real game begin. Fade out.